What is up, guys? Welcome back to another video. My name is Nash, and today I'm going to be going over how I passed my finance classes. So this is going to go over some of those tips, and also it's going to cover how you can fully understand what you're learning in class, because the goal is not only to pass, but it's to pass. And when you actually work in finance, to have an understanding of what you're doing, so you're not just a complete beginner. So I'm going to be doing some bullet points, but some of it might sound a little repetitive, but it's going to make sense, I promise. So let's go ahead and get started here. So the first tip is going to be, do not memorize anything you're learning in class, right? You might have to memorize for just to pass the exam or the quiz. That's fine. But overall, you have to understand the concepts, right? Imagine looking at an income statement, right? You might just memorize where everything goes, right? This might allow you to pass an exam or a quiz, but you do have to understand how it works. You have to practice. And how do you practice this? You go on Yahoo Finance, you download some income statements, right? Some financial statements. You get those for free. You can download those on there. And you can even get a real life example, right? You like Walmart, download their income statement on Yahoo Finance, and that is going to give you a personal connection to that income statement. It's going to help you understand it better. And if you're taking investment classes or trading classes, download Robinhood or Webull, whatever. And if you want to use Robinhood, the link is going to be in the description below. You're going to get a free stock. But download Robinhood, buy some stocks, right? That is going to give you exposure to what is actually happening, right? Imagine you buy a stock, the next day in class you're learning about how to buy a stock. That is going to give you a personal connection to that. So you have to practice by actually doing these things, right? Now, the next one is going to be some college professors are just really bad at teaching. So teaching might not be their thing. They're just there to do research, but then they're required to teach a class. So sometimes they'll give you just PowerPoints and you have to study on your own. So some professors are bad, but you can solve this by going on YouTube, and you're going to be able to find any YouTube video on any topic in finance, and you can even find people you like, people you enjoy listening to, people you enjoy watching, and that is going to make it a lot easier for you. So if you have a bad professor, that should not be a problem, because you can actually find free educational materials on YouTube. Alright, so the next one is going to be, don't study too much until you understand the bigger picture, right? For example, let's look at an income statement, right? So if you have an exam based or quiz based on the income statement, you might want to go in there and figure out, which numbers are you supposed to subtract, multiply, divide, things like that, right? You have to be able to answer questions like, what is the income statement? How does it help a company? Where does the information come from? So when you understand the bigger picture, it's going to be a lot easier to understand the small details, right? So I always recommend always understand the bigger picture. Go on YouTube, look up, what do income statements do? Okay, just Google that. And once you understand the bigger picture, all the little details are going to be much easier to understand. So when I was in college, we used to have this finance study group where, would meet before an exam or a quiz a couple of days before, and we would just study. So I've seen a lot of people spend hours trying to figure out which numbers do you subtract, why do you multiply this, why do you do this to this number. But then as soon as I explain the bigger picture, well, the income statement is doing this, this, and that. So numbers that look like this are supposed to be subtracted or things like that, right? So you have to understand the bigger picture. That is going to help you make sense of the small details, right? If you start with the small details, you're not going to be able to understand why you have to do certain things with certain numbers and things like that. So bigger picture, do not study the small details before you really understand the bigger picture. All right, so the next one is going to be getting an internship. So this one is related to being able to understand the bigger picture, right? Because when you go intern for, a finance or for a company in a finance related role, you're going to be exposed to what they actually do. So this is one thing that I did my junior year. I went ahead and interned as a financial analyst for a really big company, publicly traded company. And, when I got there, it was so different from what I was learning in class, and I learned so much more because, it wasn't a step by step, like, we're going to teach you this. It was just like, all of this. If you have any questions, let me know. I was like, well, I don't know this. So they explained everything to me and I was able to understand. So when I went back to college, the next, I think it was like the fall semester, I was able to fully understand the upper division classes because I had actually done it, right? It was a lot easier. So it doesn't have to be an internship. It could be a part-time job that is related to finance that is going to help you really understand some of the things that are done, and it will give you a bigger picture. And especially talking to people that are working in finance, that's going to give you a bigger picture, and you're going to be doing that if you're interning. All right, the next one is going to be you have to make finance about your life. So if you really think about finance itself, essentially from corporate finance to personal finance to investments, you're connected to them somehow, right? Look at corporate finance. You work for a corporate company. Corporate companies create the product you use. So many things that are connected to corporate companies. If you are working for a corporate company, you probably have an investment account for your 401k, or you have a personal trading account. But when you are in college, you're more connected to personal finance. That is the one thing you can actually control, or you can easily relate to. All right, so let's say you took out a loan to purchase a car. So with a car loan, you can look at things like what is the interest rate you're paying, and how much are you paying in interest? And you can even look at your monthly payments, how much of it is going towards the principal and how much is going towards the interest. And you can even look at situations like, what happens if I pay more per month? Is it going to take me longer or less to pay off the loan? What if I pay less? And you can look at so many variables, and these are going to be related to finance, right? These are going to help you understand if a company was going to take out a loan. Now, you're going to be able to relate your personal life into a corporate company taking out a loan, and the interest rates and things like that. So the more you personalize it, the more it's going to be easier to understand. You can also create a personal budget, right? That is going to help you understand expenses at a personal level, which can translate into a corporate level, right? If you're taking corporate finance, you're going to be able to understand expenses. The next one is going to be do your own taxes. I've seen a lot of people that are over 18 years old, 21, 22, 24, that still ask their parents to do their taxes for them. You have to be able to do your own taxes. This is going to help you understand taxes at a personal level. Now, if you're going into corporate tax, which is part of finance, you're going to be able to understand that a little better than someone who's just going in there blindly, right? Because you can relate it to your own taxes, right? If you have a business like a YouTube or things like that where you get income, that is a different type of tax, right? That's going to give you exposure. If it's a 1099, if it's a W-2, all these taxes, right? The more you're able to do, the more you really understand these corporate taxes. So personalize it. Do your own taxes. Learn how to do taxes. You can even do taxes on platforms like TurboTax. And there's so many platforms that make it so easy for you, but you just got to have a general idea of how taxes work. The next one is you have to focus on the bigger picture. So when you're taking finance classes, there's a lot of formulas involved in there. And sometimes I've seen a lot of people stress out about not being able to remember a formula, this and that. So all I got to say about formulas is memorize them to pass the exams and the quizzes and things like that. That's fine. Memorize them because they're not going to let you use what we actually use in real life. So once you make the transition from college classes to real life, you don't have to know the formulas. You can use Google. We have models that are built to solve those problems that we need those formulas for, right? We have used calculators. We don't have to do everything manually on paper. So formulas, memorize them just to pass the class, but you have to focus on the bigger picture, which is understanding what the formula is doing, because that is going to help you understand what the model is doing. Or when you Google something, you're going to know what to type, right? So you have to really understand the bigger picture when it comes to formulas. And the next one is you have to understand basic accounting. So accounting, I like to look at it as the backbone of finance, right? Everything in accounting is used in finance. So I talk about the income statement, the balance sheet, the statement of cash flow, all these financial documents that we use in finance to create things like maybe projections and things like that. These documents come from accounting, right? Accountants prepare those documents and we use them to, whether we're trying to predict revenue, expenses, or come up with some ratios and things like that. Those documents come from accounting. So the more you understand accounting, the more these documents are going to make sense to you, right? I'm pretty sure most business schools or schools that have a finance degree, you have to take some accounting classes, like a list of basic classes. If you're not able to take accounting classes, I recommend going on YouTube and looking up some basic accounting tutorials or videos. That is going to help you a lot in finance. You have to really, really, really understand accounting. I might have a basic accounting video coming up. I don't know. Maybe. Y'all let me know in the comment section below. All right. So moving on to the last one, which is going to be go in Microsoft Excel or the Google version of Microsoft Excel and create a budget with income, expenses, the loans you got to pay off, separate everything in a budget. I might do a video on that where you can actually do it in Excel and, customize it to however you want it to look. But do a budget in Excel. But the goal for this is to record everything you purchase, right? Let's say I go to the corner store, I buy a Four Loko or whatever. You're in college, you drink Four Locos. I buy a Four Loko, and it's for $3, right? I'm gonna go to my budget or my expenses tracker, and I'm gonna put in bought a Four Loko for $3. You want to put the right amount, right? And do that for the entire month, right? Where you record all the expenses. However much money you spend, if money is coming out of your bank or cash, record it, right? Especially, I think everyone has a bank account now. No one uses cash. At the end of the month, I want you to do a bank reconciliation. This is a huge part of finance and accounting. Not so much finance, but it's going to help you understand a lot of things. So you're going to do a bank reconciliation of what you recorded on your Excel file and what is in the bank account, right? So at the end of the month, you can print out your bank statement, which tells you the money that came in, the money that went out, right? So get that document and then compare it to what you recorded, right? So this can allow you to spot differences. Maybe someone was using your card to purchase things. You're going to be able to catch that because you did not record it on your personal expense tracker or budget, whatever, right? Or if it's the opposite, if something is on your expenses, but it's not in the bank, then you can do research to find out why you weren't charged for that. That is the best way to understand bank reconciliations. If you end up working for a huge company where you have to do bank reconciliation, it's going to be the same process. They might have a lot more expenses, things like bank charges and things like that, different expenses, but you're going to be able to understand the bigger picture because you've done it, with your personal money, with your personal expenses and things like that. So that is pretty much it when it comes to some of the things that I did to pass finance. It wasn't just to pass, it was more so to understand, the bigger picture. So if you look at all of these things, they help you understand the bigger picture, which is the biggest thing. So when you understand the bigger picture, you're going to be able to pass. If you have to memorize some things just to pass a quiz or exam, go ahead and do that. You don't have to, know the formulas for the rest of your life you're working in finance. No, we have tools for that help us do the work, to minimize the workload. But that is pretty much it for this video. Let me know what you think if you want to add anything else to this. But I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.